7 silent secrets that instantly attract women without saying a word. The power of masculine presence. Why is she drawn to the man who does nothing? No joke, he just sits there calm, grounded, but she can't look away. Ever seen that? The man who doesn't try to impress, doesn't crack jokes, doesn't flash money or charm. He simply exists, with a presence you can't explain, but you feel it. This isn't passivity, it's intentional stillness, a quiet kind of power that pulls attention without effort. And if you've ever felt overlooked, if you've ever tried too hard to be liked, this video is for you. 1. The Forgotten Man. John was the kind of man every mother would be proud of. Polite, respectful, always ready to help. He held the door open, listened without interrupting, said yes more often than no. He thought being nice was the answer. He believed that if he showed how good he was, kind, dependable, selfless, then maybe, just maybe, someone would choose him. But they didn't. At parties, he stood by the wall, drink in hand, waiting, hoping. He laughed at the right moments, nodded in conversations, and still, women barely noticed him. If they did, it was to say, "You're such a good friend." And that stung, because deep down, John wasn't weak. He was just trying to be accepted in a world that rewards noise, not depth. What he didn't know back then was that being agreeable all the time doesn't make you attractive. It makes you invisible. 2. The shift begins. One day, something in John just snapped. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in quiet, grounded clarity. He stopped apologizing for who he was. He stopped over-explaining himself just to be liked. And most of all, he stopped chasing. Instead, he began to observe. He watched the room before speaking. He listened, not to respond, but to truly hear. And when he did speak, it was slow, direct, and steady. Not to impress, not to please, just to say what was true. And something strange happened. People leaned in. Men respected him more. And women, they started to feel something different. Not charm, not effort, but presence. Because the moment John stopped trying to be seen was the moment he started to stand out. 3. The New John. At a quiet cafe on a rainy Tuesday, John sat alone, coffee in one hand, a worn book in the other. He wasn't scrolling. He wasn't looking around. He was present, fully in his own space. A woman walked by, intrigued, not by a smile or a pickup line, but by his calm. She leaned in, curious. "What are you reading?" John looked up, slow and steady, then said, without a trace of trying to impress, something that teaches men they don't need approval. No grin, no over-explaining, just a slight nod and silence. But that silence, it wasn't empty. It spoke volumes. It said, "I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it." And in that moment, she wasn't just curious, she was captivated. 4. Why presence attracts women. Women aren't drawn to men who chase attention. They're drawn to men who don't need it, to men who have filled their own silence, who don't need someone to complete them, because they've already come home to themselves. That's the quiet power of presence. It says, "I don't need you, but if you value peace, strength, and truth, you're welcome to walk beside me." No pressure, no pretending, just grounded stillness. John no longer chased, because he wasn't lost anymore. He had found something far more rare, himself. 5. The essence of presence. Presence is not arrogance. It's not loud. It's not performance. Presence is movement and stillness. It's knowing who you are, without needing to explain. It's being at ease in silence, unshaken by noise, unmoved by pressure, unbothered by the need to react. It's the lion who walks slowly, deliberately, because he doesn't need to roar, to remind the jungle. He's the lion. 6. When presence is tested. A crowded room. Laughter, loud voices, everyone trying to be seen. But John remained still. He didn't need to speak over anyone, didn't need to fight for attention. Then, a beautiful woman approached, curious, perhaps even a little confrontational. She smiled and said, "You're awfully quiet." Not bored, John looked at her, calm and grounded, and replied, "I speak when something's worth saying. Sometimes silence says more." No nervous laugh, no trying to impress, no rush to fill the space. His presence didn't bend, and that quiet strength unnerved her, but it also pulled her in, because in a world full of noise, a man who's rooted in stillness stands out. 7. The deepest sign of a strong man. A strong man doesn't need to text all the time. He's not always available because his time isn't free. It's focused. He knows how to say no, not out of arrogance, but because he respects his boundaries. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't panic when others lose control. Instead, he stays still. He breathes. He observes. And in that stillness, there's a rare kind of confidence. One that doesn't need noise. One that doesn't need to prove anything. This isn't some mind game. This is self-mastery. Because real strength isn't about showing off. It's about knowing who you are and standing firm in the silence. Let the world lean into your silence. Don't chase women with tricks, charm, or noise. That's not power. That's desperation in disguise. Instead, learn to impress the only person that matters, yourself. Master presence. Speak less, but mean every word. Move slowly, but decide swiftly. And above all, never chase. Because when you stand in silence, rooted calm, unshakable, the world leans in.